So we're all set here at St James's Park. Everybody knows what Newcastle United need today. It's 3 points against Everton on this final game of the season. Let's put it aside, the other games that are taking place today. We know that Aston Villa are still in with a good shout of getting into the Champions League. If they beat Man United, a Man United team who've got absolutely nothing to play for, who look in a desperate state. So that one is a concern. Keeping an eye on that one. Nottingham Forest play Chelsea as well, so if one of those teams win, then that would add a bit of pressure on Newcastle as well if they can't get the job done here today. So it really is an intriguing situation, but one where Newcastle are in full control. Eddie Howe has said that in the build-up to this game. He's been consistent in the last sort of 7 or 8 weeks, saying it'll go right down the wire, and here we are today, right down to the wire. So Eddie Howe spot on with that prediction. Newcastle offering the fans here a couple of free drinks. It's getting busy outside now, and Newcastle know what they need to do. One last push. It all kicks off here at 4 p.m. this afternoon. And breathe, Newcastle United are in the Champions League. That was typical Newcastle, really, even in this era of having quality signings, having money to spend, having a top-class manager. Newcastle United always seem to find a way to put you right through the mangle, and that's exactly what happened today. Newcastle got there in the end by virtue of the hard work earlier in the season. It wasn't just about Manchester United, it was also about Newcastle United's results over the course of the season. And yeah, Newcastle really staggered to Europe's top table today, but you know, at the end of the day, there's part of you thinks you wouldn't want it any other way, that Newcastle just know how to make life as tense as possible for the supporters. But I thought the supporters today, you know, when it started to filter around the ground that Manchester United were ahead against Villa, when Newcastle were a goal down, of course, and it looked like it was slipping away and Europa League football was becoming a distinct possibility. Newcastle fans today just lifted the team. I mean, the players didn't know anything about it. We spoke to a couple of the players there. They didn't know a thing about what was going on anywhere else. You know, Eddie Howe in his press conference saying that, you know, before the game they'd said to avoid results filtering across the pitch, and then he said that, you know, on the bench it was discussed and the plan kind of went out the window, but it didn't reach the players who were so engrossed in the game and trying to find an equaliser that ultimately today, you know, the game at the end, you saw Fabian Schär, Dan Burn absolutely devastated at the end. But look, Newcastle, it didn't matter, they were there. I think Harvey Barnes ran on at the end, the Champions League music come on, Newcastle United have made it. It's been a great achievement now, and now they push on. And they've got the riches of the Champions League. Should be £100 million the richer, and hopefully they can make some good signings. So it's going to be something to look forward to this summer. I think realistically, at the start of the season, if someone had offered you the Carabao Cup, someone had offered you a place in the Champions League, you would have taken it. You probably would have taken a Europa League spot, if I'm being honest. But in the end, Newcastle have managed to get 2 big achievements. Great work from Eddie Howe and his staff. You know, you remember the season started with a bit of uncertainty, new director of football coming in, a new performance director coming in, but you know, it just all seems to have worked perfectly, really, if you look at it. But I think now, you know, the future, Newcastle have got to make big changes. There will be some goodbyes. We don't know exactly if Callum Wilson will leave the football club. We don't know if there's, you know, 2 or 3 other fringe players who, you know, could be heading for the exit. But now I think for Newcastle, we move on. It's been a great day today, and they'll take this with open arms. They're in the Champions League. They can breathe for a little while, but that summer window is swinging open next week. So the drama continues. It never stops for Newcastle United, and so much to look forward to next season. But today, a day of celebration. Newcastle United back in the Champions League.